Well, we've made it to the Christmas break, and hopefully your holidays are off to a good start. And with this time of year, we have the OHL trade freeze, so we don't expect any moves within the next few days. But one thing that keeps being asked is what are teams going to do at the OHL trade deadline? We've heard the names of Quentin Musty, Anthony Romani, there's Connor Smith out of Owen Sound, and Gibson out of Sault Ste. Marie. But the big question, what will the Saginaw Spirit do? Of course, they won the Memorial Cup championship last year. They're in their third year with Michael Misa, and they've got Zane Parekh, who's back after being selected in the first round by the Calgary Flames. Will this team be buyers, sellers, or do they stand pat? Obviously, a talent like Michael Misa does not come often. He was granted that exceptional status. He's already in his third year in the Ontario Hockey League, and he'll be expected to be in the top five of the NHL draft in June. So the likelihood of him coming back next year, pretty slim. Plus, we're hearing the rumors about Boston College giving him an offer to play NCAA next season, but we don't know for sure if that's going to happen. So, with all these questions, would the Saginaw Spirit trade Michael Misa? Now, for Saginaw, as of time of recording, they're fifth in the Western Conference standings. They have a record of 16-16-1, so they're playing .500 at the halfway point of the regular season, good for 33 points. They are one of the highest scoring teams in the OHL, 142 goals for, but of course, Niagara right now leading in that category. So still Saginaw top five in goals for. Their goals against, though, it's 129 right now, middle of the pack in the Ontario Hockey League. But what stands out is their penalty minutes with 533. So this is a Saginaw Spirit team that we know can score in bunches, but they kind of feast on the lower teams in the Ontario Hockey League. So the question is, would Saginaw benefit from maybe doing a bit of a sell-off this season, including Michael Misa? And I was having a conversation on a podcast recently, and the question came up, what do you do with Saginaw? And I compared Michael Misa to John Tavares. Remember in the 2008-2009 season, Tavares was traded to the London Knights, and for Oshawa, they were in a very similar position. So I thought, well, let's take a look. Where were the Oshawa Generals in that third year of John Tavares? Well, at the 33 game mark, the record of the Generals was 16, 13, and 4, 36 points. So 3 points better than where the Saginaw Spirit are right now. So it's really fascinating just to see how similar the journey was for John Tavares when he played for the Oshawa Generals and Michael Misa with the Saginaw Spirit. In the 2008 run, Oshawa, they put in a bid for the Memorial Cup, but of course lost it to the Kitchener Rangers. I know there's Oshawa fans who are still kind of bitter that they didn't get to host the Memorial Cup in 2008 because they had a great team. They went all the way to the Eastern Conference Final, ended up losing to the Belleville Bulls in 6 games. And John Tavares, a big piece in pushing that team through the postseason. And then, of course, since they didn't host the Memorial Cup, that was the end of the run for John Tavares. However, you look at Michael Misa and the Saginaw Spirit. Last year, they went all the way to the Western Conference Final and lost in 6 games to the London Knights. But because they were the host of the Memorial Cup last year, they got a chance to at least represent the city of Saginaw for the Memorial Cup and won over the London Knights. So there's a lot of parallels if you dig deep between Misa and Tavares' OHL career. And that's why I kind of compare that in this third year, would it make sense for Michael Misa to maybe be traded to another team looking to contend? In the trade in 2009, the London Knights received Tavares, Michael Del Zotto, and Daryl Borden. And going the other way, 6 draft picks to the Oshawa Generals, along with Christian Thomas, Scott Valentine, and Michael Zader. So this was a huge deadline day deal when this took place. Because remember, John Tavares was also playing for the World Juniors for Team Canada in 2009. So they had to wait until closer to the OHL trade deadline to make that move. Michael Misa, of course, got a bit of a snub. I know there's a lot of people saying that he should have at least gotten an invite to try for Team Canada. But then you've got Zane Parekh, who's kind of similar to Michael Del Zotto. Remember Del Zotto, he was a first-round pick of the Oshawa Generals and then was a first-round pick of the New York Rangers, similar to Zane Parekh. So it's amazing how many parallels there are between the Oshawa Generals from 16 years ago to the Saginaw Spirit of today. And the other thing that's really leaning towards maybe we see a trade involving Michael Misa is the fact that the draft pick cupboard is bare for Saginaw. They went all in just like Oshawa did back in 2009 or in 2008 when they went for their run. So they needed draft picks and they restocked it quite well in that John Tavares deal. Looking at Saginaw's draft cupboard as of the time of recording, they don't have a pick until the fourth round when they have two, and then they don't have a fifth round pick either. So they don't have any second round picks until 2028. Their draft cupboard bare. Even when you look at the 2026 draft, they don't have a pick until the seventh round. Of course, they do have their first round pick, which is given to them. That's protected. But the Saginaw Spirit, they could use some draft picks, at least do a soft sell. So my question to you is, would Saginaw move Michael Misa and Zane Parekh in a deal? We know that there's some teams that have quite a few draft picks. You look at the Eastern Conference, could a team like the Brampton Steelheads make a move like this? What about the Oshawa Generals? Brantford, are they a team that could make a move like this? Let me know in the comments section down below, because I just noticed a lot of similarities between John Tavares and Michael Misa in their third years. It's quite fascinating. And for Saginaw, I think if they would have been closer to the top of the West Division standings, I don't think we'd be having this conversation. But it was the same when the Oshawa Generals were in this position back in 2009. So it's quite remarkable how similar these two teams are. And I just wanted to do a video on it just to get the conversation moving in regards to this. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.